Today I'll be showing you guys two mock trades that would land Chris Paul and Victor Oladipo to the New York Knicks. So before we get right into the video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new. Now let's get into the Chris Paul Knicks mock trade. Number 1, the Knicks get Chris Paul and the Thunder get 2 second-round picks, Kevin Knox and Reggie Bullock. So the reason the Thunder would do this, or would possibly do this, is because they get Kevin Knox, obviously, which is a nice young player that still didn't prove himself, but maybe the Thunder, with their developmental staff, they could definitely maybe try to develop him into a nice young player and a nice player in the league. So maybe they believe in him, and reports recently came up that the Thunder prefer Kevin Knox in a deal with the Knicks for Chris Paul. So I think this is something that the Knicks must include in order to get the deal done. So you guys might be wondering, why would the Knicks give up Knox? But this is the reason, because it just probably would not work without Knox being included in the deal. So I think this is what has to get it done. And the Thunder obviously get 2 second-round picks from the Knicks, which isn't bad to just keep stacking up on picks. Even though they have so many in the next few years, they're just stacking up on more and more picks and young players. And they also get Reggie Bullock, but that doesn't really matter. That's just to make the salaries work. And it's also good for the Thunder because they released Chris Paul's huge contract, and now they can develop fully young with the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, Dennis Struders, Kevin Knox now, and with their other future picks in the next few years. And the reason that this is good for the New York Knicks is that they obviously get Chris Paul, who could definitely develop the young players in Frank Ntilikina, R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, and all those other young players on the team. So I think this is great for the Knicks with their development on the young players, and that they're getting an all-star point guard that can help them with their playoff chances. And obviously the second part to the video is what will really make them compete for playoff hopes and get maybe possibly even to the second round of the playoffs. You never know. But yeah, so this is the reason that is good for the Knicks. Now let's get into mock trade number 2. So mock trade number 2 is obviously for Victor Oladipo. So the Knicks get Victor Oladipo and the Pacers get pick number 27 in the 2020 NBA draft, as well as pick number 38 in the second round in the 2020 NBA draft, as well as Dennis Smith Jr. and Julius Randle. So the reason that this is good for the Indiana Pacers is that they get rid of Victor Oladipo, which was apparently and reportedly a disgruntled star on the team. So they get rid of him, which did not reportedly want to be on the Indiana Pacers and wanted to move on. And they obviously get rid of his pretty large contract, and they get 2 picks, 1 first-round pick, which is pick number 27 in the 2020 NBA draft, which is obviously great. They're adding in picks, and the number 38th pick, which is pretty still high second-round pick. So that's pretty nice. And especially in the 2020 NBA draft, you could definitely pull off steals with players in the 2020 NBA draft, especially you have 2 chances, and both of them are similar, around similar numbers with 27 and 38. So I think this is great for the Pacers that they're getting more picks, and they're obviously getting Dennis Smith Jr., a nice young point guard that could still develop into a pretty solid player in the NBA that the Pacers might want to have. And I think that's definitely nice for them to be a backup under Malcolm Brogdon. Is definitely not bad. I know they have Aaron Holiday, but let's see what happens with his situation in Indiana. Maybe they're gonna trade him, maybe they're not. Let's see what's gonna happen with him. But Dennis Smith is definitely not bad. Maybe for another trade piece, for like a Miles Turner trade or something, to get a banger of a trade. So let's see what's gonna happen with that. And they obviously get Julius Randle, which is a pretty fine power forward that could play for them, but obviously his contract expires in 2 years. And for the Knicks, this is great because they get Victor Oladipo, which was an all-star and still might play on an all-star level pretty soon. After his injury, he did not play really well in the playoffs. So I think having a new chance on the New York Knicks with the bright lights of Madison Square Garden, I think he'd definitely do well there with Chris Paul. Don't forget, the Knicks made the deal for Chris Paul in my terms, obviously with my mock trade for now. So So imagine Chris Paul and Victor Oladipo, as well as like an RJ Barrett. I mean, the fit wouldn't be the best probably, but I'm sure Tom Thibodeau and Mike Woodson and those guys will definitely figure it out with both players. So I think also with Mitchell Robinson, that's a deadly starting five. I mean, starting four for now, but let's see who's going to be the fifth player that they're going to add, maybe in free agency or with another trade. But yeah, that definitely looks like a pretty nice roster with 2 All-Stars and RJ Barrett, which is a developing star possibly, as well as Mitchell Robinson with this defensive talent and offensive talent in the paint, obviously. So I think that's definitely nice for both teams. Let me know what you guys think of these trades and if you guys would do them for both teams. It was Alan here from KYT, and I'm out. Peace.